For all the parents out there, picture that it's bedtime. You and the kids have been busy all day. You know they're tired, but for some reason they just won't go to sleep. And for this reason, I created the podcast Bedtime History. Bedtime History is a series of relaxing history stories that end with an inspirational message. With over 2,000 positive parent reviews, Bedtime History is one of the top education podcasts. Join me and listen to Bedtime History every Monday and Thursday on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kids Animal Stories. If you haven't heard, we have a new Alexa skill for all of your Alexa devices. So there's a link down in the description below for your parents to click and enable that skill so that you can just say, Alexa, open Kids Animal Stories, and then it will magically play today's episode, which is about coconut crabs. Are you guys ready for this amazing pirate adventure? Oh, me too! Let's go!
Har! Hoist the sails!
But Captain, we don't have any sails.
Well, hoist your claws! Har!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Those are the voices of a crew of coconut crabs. These young crabs are sailing across the ocean on some driftwood they found. It's not a real pirate ship, but Captain Claw, he truly believes that he is actually like the real captain of a real pirate ship. He's got a pretty good imagination.
Full steam ahead for the treasure island! Arr!
Do you know what a coconut crab is? A coconut crab is a ginormously large crab. It's the second largest crab in the whole wide world that lives in like Southeast Asia and Australia and that area of the world. And they grow so super duper big. Well, every ginormous critter starts out as just a young critter. And that's exactly who Captain Claw and his crew of other coconut crabs, that's who they are. They're young coconut crabs. They're pretty small. And after baby coconut crabs hatch out of their eggs, they usually climb atop of driftwood that brings them around the ocean to new places. But every young coconut crab needs to find a shell, kind of like a hermit crab shell, to crawl inside for protection. And Captain Claw, he had heard of a treasure island that had the most magical looking of shells in the whole wide world, and that's where him and his crew were off to. One very interesting thing about Captain Claw is that he only has one claw. And nobody knows how he lost the first one. You see, his one claw is always clutching shiny things. He likes to find shiny things, and nobody knows how he lost his other claw. He comes up with a different story every time someone asks.
Yes, a shark ate it. Yes, an alien bit it off with its laser teeth. Oh, yes, one day it got melted off in a lava explosion on Volcano Island.
Captain Claw was pretty good at telling stories, and I don't know where that claw actually did go. Well, you see, if we begin this story a little while ago, see, baby coconuts, they have a long journey from when they're born. The female coconut crabs, they release their eggs right into the ocean. Yikes, that doesn't sound very safe. And then once the eggs hatch and the larvae they're dependent on, doing what they're doing. They find some driftwood or coconut husks to cling onto until they're big enough. That usually takes about 6 weeks. Do you know how many weeks are in a month? Yes, 4 weeks in a month. So about a month and a half. Then they sink all the way to the ocean floor to find a shell that will protect them from predators. Much like a hermit crab. Have you ever seen a hermit crab before? Yeah, they bring their house with them wherever they go. But the one big difference between hermit crabs and coconut crabs is that coconut crabs get ginormously huge. Way huger than a shell to house their big bodies. So they drop those shells and then they usually live on an island in the middle of the ocean. And that is where our story continues as our crew of young pirates are looking to sail all the way to Treasure Island to find a very, very special shell that they've heard about.
Arr, mateys. How's our travels going? I can't see any land. All I see is the big old blue. Who has the map around here? Arr.
Captain, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, but we don't have a map. We were just told to head this direction.
Shiver me timbers. You mean we've been traveling this far without a map? What kind of treasure exploration must go without a map?
Shouted Captain Claw.
Well, Captain, I think we're headed in the right direction. I think we're... Uh-oh. Did you hear that?
But all of a sudden, something terrible happened.
Captain, we're under attack. Captain, what do we do?
Are not the rats of the sea? Oh my, it's about time we abandon ship, my crew. Grab your toes and get a jumpin'. Arr, splash.
One by one, all of the little coconut crabs jumped right into the water. Whew, that was a close one because seagulls, they would totally eat a young baby coconut crab that doesn't even have a shell. Without a shell, coconut crabs are pretty good snacks for birds that are flying around pretty hungry around the ocean. But holy smokes, what in the world is gonna happen? Captain Claw and his entire crew have now just jumped into the middle of the ocean without any kind of protection. Oh dear. I don't think this sounds like it's gonna end very well. But we're gonna have to wait and see what happens on the next episode to see if they're gonna make it all the way to Treasure Island. The end. Great job, you listened all the way to the end, and it's question time! Who remembers where coconut crabs usually live? Do they spend their time in the desert, Antarctica, or the South Pacific Ocean? Yes, the South Pacific Ocean. That is a great place for a coconut crab to be, to grow up and then become a big, ginormous crab that lives on an island and drinks kiwi juice. I'm kidding. They probably don't drink kiwi juice, but well, friends, I hope you have a super duper day and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye.
For all the parents out there, picture that it's bedtime. You and the kids have been busy all day. You know they're tired, but for some reason they just won't go to sleep. And for this reason, I created the podcast Bedtime History. Bedtime History is a series of relaxing history stories that end with an inspirational message. With over 2,000 positive parent reviews, Bedtime History is one of the top education podcasts. Join me and listen to Bedtime History every Monday and Thursday on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.